say is that I just am completely fascinated by what I'm learning and what I get to do every day. Like, part of my job, I get to spend, you know, hours and hours of my day standing in the OR and watching incredible surgeons perform just really freaking cool things and learning about how resilient our body is and, you know, just all this different stuff that I never pictured being able to have in front of my eyes or get my hands on. So as crazy as it is, I will say I'm taking it day by day, and I'm still alive. I'm still here.
Yeah, I mean, it's only been a month, so you are, you know, typically they call it the honeymoon phase, you know, of the job. It's always awesome in the first few months. But I mean, the fact that you're in the OR, that is crazy. I mean, I couldn't do that. I mean, you must have. I could never watch a surgery. I mean, I know like a couple times you're like, yeah, I'm going to be doing it. I'm like, wow, that's insane. I mean, have you ever thought about being a doctor or anything like that?
It's so funny because doing this now makes me feel like, oh my gosh, what if I could be the surgeon? Like, the way my brain works, I'm really good at piecing things together and solving problems just with pieces and like hands-on kind of things, like the way things fit together, the way they work, the way they function. And so seeing, you know, the diagnosis of a patient, watching the surgeon, fix that, perform surgery, you know, use all these different devices and equipment to fix the problem. I'm like fascinated by that. So part of me has thought like, would I, like, is that something in the future? But I think right now I'm just soaking up what I'm doing, that I don't think I'm going to go down that road, but it definitely sparks that interest of, I kind of want to.
Well, yeah, you probably don't. I mean, it's interesting to me because you're so fascinated by it all. So that just made me jump to it. But you don't, you know, you're right. You don't need to know that right now, right? You're just exploring and learning. And I love what you said about being fascinated by the work, and it makes you get up in the morning because you're excited and you love it. I mean, you can't ask for anything more than that right now. Like, as long as you can do that in every job, that's what you want. You're like, you got the brass ring for real. So.
Right. And I think it's right now easy for me to sit here and say how much I love it. And I'm saying that because it's the truth. But I think one thing that I think about looking back is that I would have never thought a year, 2 years ago, even 6 months ago, that I'd be sitting here on the phone with you telling you how much I love my job, despite how crazy it is, or that I would have even found my quote unquote passion, because I do already sense this being something I'm going to be incredibly passionate about for the years to come. And this is something I thought about before you called tonight. And one thing that I didn't do kind of until the 11th hour that I would hope everyone else in this transition period would think about and pursue would be doing those informational interviews. And I think I brought them up last time we were on the show, but just poking and prodding, like any connection you can make, any person you feel slightly close to who does something that you're kind of intrigued with, or even just, you know, calling around, oh, this is a really cool firm that, you know, does something that I'm interested in, and giving them a call and saying, hey, is anyone in your office up for an informational interview? Like, finding people who you think are really cool, that you look up to, that do something that you think is really awesome and intriguing that you might want to do, reaching out to them. I mean, what is the worst thing they can say? Is no. And at that point, you've just exercised, making a little bit more effort, making a phone call. You've gotten experience doing that. So you're not taking any steps backward. You're not losing. But the amount of knowledge and just benefit for yourself that you can take away from doing those informational interviews to help you figure out what your passion is going to be, what career you might like. I think that's something I wish I did more of earlier on to help guide me, because I will be the first one to tell you, I had absolutely no clue what I was going to do with my life for the longest time.
Well, you've certainly come around full circle, sister.
Yeah.
And
yes, it has been a big transition.
But all of these things that you did, you know, helped get you there. And that's exactly why I wanted you to come on here and talk more, because it's a success story. I mean, going from saying like, I didn't know what the block I wanted to do to now I love what I do. And that's because you did the work.
Right.
So I was going to ask you this, but I think you answered it. But I was going to ask you, like, what's the one thing about yourself, your amazing badass self, that you attribute your success to? Like, what got you the interview? What is getting you through this job that's very challenging and, you know, difficult? on a daily basis, because it's not something that, you know, again, like everybody could do this job. I mean, it's definitely challenging. What is that? Like, could you outline that in one attribute, or would you say it's collectively Alexandra BUCKLEY? You know what I mean? Like, what is it?
I was thinking about this question a lot, and I think it's so tough. It's still so tough for me to think about something about myself that I'm like, wow, I'm really proud of that, or I really think this helps me. And I think this is just overall for me a hard question to answer. I think that a couple different things. I think I've grown a lot. I think my growth is part of what supports me to be successful and what has pushed me to even be in the position I'm in now. One of the things I will say, I'll do this in two parts. First part, I think experience. I think I've personally heard this advice a million times, and I want to give it out a million times too, because now being on the flip side, having a job, starting my career, I realized how important it was. But take every interview, talk to as many people as you can, because that experience of having yourself in front of someone who is going to interview you, who's going to put you through those tough questions, who's going to give you that experience of how to handle yourself in an interview is just invaluable. Like, you need to get as much experience as you can, because I look back and I'm like, wow, I think of my first ever interview and how I'm not lying. I wish we could play back a recording of it. It was mortifying. Like, I laugh about it now, but I remember in that moment hanging up the phone and being like, oh my gosh, I want to cry. Like, I thought I was prepared, but I wasn't. I didn't know what was coming. So take every opportunity to interview, even if it may not be the exact job you want. Just get that face time, put yourself in the uncomfortable situation, learn how to answer those tough questions, and get experience, because you learn how to, you learn how to speak about yourself, you learn how to handle those tough questions, and you truly do grow in just such a valuable way when it comes to marketing yourself and setting yourself apart from other people who are going to be applying for that, that job that you are dying for. So definitely that. And also, I think finding your confidence. Like, I think that's hard for everyone in one way or another. I mean, I know there are people who are just, you look at them and you're like, wow, you are seamlessly confident. I don't know how you do it every day, but there's still secretly something that they struggle with. So I think finding your confidence, like whatever that may be for you, whatever you may struggle with in terms of pumping yourself up, being confident, loving the skin you're in, figure out how to conquer that, because I know that my past experiences have made me more confident in myself, but the more that I've taken advice from others, and I definitely spoke on this with you before, but finding those things that you look at as weaknesses and finding a way to talk them into existence as being positive, put a positive spin on them, see how they help you be who you are and be successful and be comfortable in that space and be confident in yourself, because there are going to be a handful of times where you feel knocked down, defeated, unsuccessful, useless, that you're not adding value to a situation, and those times are going to be the most trying times. But what's going to set you apart is how you regain your confidence in those situations. And I think I felt like I'd conquered that before this job, and then this job really just knocked me on my knees and was like, okay, wake up call. It's going to be tough. It's going to be rough. Not going to be easy every day. So I've had to kind of reinvent that, finding my confidence. Like, okay, else is validating that I'm doing a good job, that I'm doing this, that I'm doing this right, or that I'm, adding value to the team. And that's tough space to be in, and still wake up and be like, I want to do this. So finding those pieces of confidence in myself and being like, I can do this. I do add value. I'm good at this. I'm going to keep trying, and using that to kind of fuel my journey of the ups and downs has definitely been something huge for me, and something I wish for everyone else.
Honest to God, it is really hard to get yourself to that point. The confidence always. I mean, it's an up and down thing. Oh, when you can walk in your own power, it is supreme. I mean, I had a guest come on, and she has a brand called She Bites brand, and she's all about this whole thing again. And she said she calls it being a confident queen, and I love that. And she said every day I have to look in the mirror and say, I'm a fucking queen. Like, she just looks in the mirror and does that. And that's the kind of stuff you need to do. And it's like so hard sometimes,
And I think everyone needs to be reminded, like I'm saying, how important it is, but don't think that I am a confidence queen at all times. Like, that is definitely something you have to wake up every day, or even halfway through the day when the first half is really crappy, and stop halfway through the day and remind yourself, because it's constant. You just have to constantly work at it. And that action of just trying and not giving up, even when things bring you down, like, that's what's going to carry you through.
Honest to God. And I really think that that's why I try to create this community too, because girls helping girls, women helping women, it's so needed. Like, we do that for each other, like on the natural.
Mm-hmm.
Like, men, you have to say, like, you should say that, but women automatically know, like, we need to hear that about each other, So I love that you talked about that. I loved how you worded those two things. Amazing. And now we have to close, unfortunately, because I feel like we could go on forever, girl.
Oh my gosh, we could. But before you do your little closing thing, I want to add that anyone listening and anyone who is a part of your incredible movement, just even being able to talk with you the past few times on our separate phone calls, the amount of positive vibes I get from being in your presence and being a part of this is incredible. And I hope that everyone listening and everyone a part of it really realizes the value of, building your crew, the people who surround you, being around people who lift you up and provide support like you are creating in this incredible platform, and just find a way to get a part of it or experience it, learn off it, whatever you can do to take from it. It is, you are incredible, and what you are doing is incredible.
XOXO. I love Alex. Thank you for being here. Yes, guys, join the movement.
Thank you for having me.
Join the movement. You can reach Alex. Is the best way to reach you on email or Instagram, or what? How should I tell? How should people find you?
Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram.
Okay, and your Instagram is alexandra.buckley, BUCKLEY. Yes, reach out to Alex. She is a wealth of information. Thanks again for being here with us, Alex. I know how busy you are. Thank you so much. It means the world to me, and we'll be in touch very soon.
Sounds great. Thank you again for having me.
Thanks, listeners. Have a great night, and get out there, slay dragons, XOXO.